The ego is kicking and screaming to stay alive with the identity of I'm not enough, I'm not capable. So the second you're going out of that realm, the ego literally thinks it's going to die. But this is now your opportunity to make this journey super expansive where you're just teaching the ego the higher way. Give the ego something new to identify with.
Hello, guys. Welcome into the Out of Our Minds podcast. We're so happy that you are here. We are so glad that the universe brought you to us, to this moment, to this episode. Get freaking stoked because congratulations, you just tapped into one of the most epic little corners, not so little corners of the internet that is big and powerful and is here to remind you every freaking week, every freaking day that you absolutely can do the things that you desire and your desires are divine. And today's episode is very specifically dedicated to giving you an encouraging, loving, big, fiery reminder that you can absolutely do this thing, whatever that is. And we are really going to tap into some fatherly encouragement, some really just grounded energy to remind you and mirror back to you the power that you freaking hold. And the reason why we're doing this is, one, we want you to have an episode that you can honestly kind of come back to as like rewiring your freaking brain. So go ahead and save this on YouTube or wherever and come back to it, listen to it every freaking day if you need to, because we're about to go on a rampage to explain to you the truth that is your limitless capacity, and to also give you a kick on the butt to commit to your visions. So before we dive into that, I feel like actually we should just freaking start to send it. But Nikki, is there any quick things you want to add before we begin our rampage here?
No, I'm just ready to go in.
Okay, let's send it.
I'm feeling the fire.
The first,
even though it's literally Pisces season.
Let's go. You know what? It's power. It's every zodiac. Yeah. This is what I figured out. Every zodiac has its own type of power, and it's like there's a different flavor to each one. Okay, so this is what you need to know, okay? I'm talking to you, the soul that is listening, the person that is in human form here on this planet. Whenever you find yourself listening to this episode, take a deep breath in and begin to open yourself to receive the truth of these words. I want to transmit to you this truth that anything you desire, anything you can think up, dream up, feel up is possible. Anything that calls to you, that lands a little tickle in your vessel and gets you excited and gets you moving and grooving, the thing that you can't stop thinking about at night because you're so excited to see how it plays out, it is absolutely possible. And I want to share with you and call in some energy from one of the most greatest people in my whole life who really did me a great service of positively conditioning me to believe and know that I could literally do anything. And this person is my father. Shout out to Papa Solanot, a legend. And of course, this was also from my parents, both of them, my mom and dad. Shout out to my mom. But particularly, it feels like coming through this dad fatherly energy. And what I want you to know is that anything that excites you, anything that is interesting to you, you see a possibility out there, you see a path, or you have an idea, something you want to create, a business, or maybe you want to travel the world, or you have this idea of a relationship that you would like to have, a partner. I'm looking into your eyes, and what I see is a being where there's no question that you can do it. And I'm holding your hand and I'm looking into your soul and I'm just seeing inevitability. And to me, I see it as duh. Okay, honey, you want to make this big business and you want to make millions of dollars and impact people all over the world? Of course you do. Of course. Okay, great. Talk to me about that. What do you want to, how do you want to do it? What does it feel like to do that? What can I do to help to support you to make sure this happens? Or maybe you have a goal, or you're feeling kind of uncertain that you are able to public speak and execute on this project for school. Listen, you're a capable being. I'm literally looking at the most incredible vessel of divine capacity, light, and love. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why is there a question? There's no question. You're here on earth. You came here. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's make it happen. And what I want you to know is that anything you desire, the vision is coming to you because you are meant to do it. And now the next step of this is all that I need from you is I just need you to commit. I just need you to claim it so. I just need you to tell me what your vision is and to tell me why you want to do it. And that is enough. And the commitment energy here is essential. And what I want to bring in here now, we are thanking Papa Solanot for showing up, and maybe he'll come back into this episode at another time. But something that I was telling Nikki is to think about in a relationship when you either, let's say for some of you, this is signified by the idea of getting married, or when you just simply make a vow, a commitment to another person, and you say, we are in. I'm in. I love you. You love me. I see you. And I also know that this journey is probably going to have some bumps and rides. And probably there will be days when I don't like what's going on and we feel angry and upset. But you know what? I see the depth of your soul and I'm committed to making this work. I'm committed to showing up and honoring the person, the vessel, the soul that we each are. And this commitment energy is what you are ready to bring into your vision and your own desires. And the funny thing is, we are very easy and quick to commit and to vow and really put our loyalty out there to another person, but sometimes we don't do it to ourselves. And this is your invitation to commit and vow to your own self, to your soul, to your vision, to your highest expression, and to take it that seriously. To take it like a marriage, a vow that you are choosing. There's so many other things out there, other people, other experiences. No, we say this is the one because it excites me, because I love it, because it makes me feel good, because I see my best self coming out in this container. And I want you, listener, to think and to feel into what it would feel like to fully bet on yourself, to fully commit and vow and promise to yourself that you have your own back, that you believe in this thing. You believe in the person that you're looking at in the mirror. You believe in their visions. You believe in their goals, their desires, and you also just see the wholeness that they are right now. That commitment is what is going to melt away the possibility that doubt goes further than just being a passing emotion, a passing experience. It's the same thing in a relationship, and this is what you get to apply to your own vision and to your own life. Nikki, I want to let you riff and chime in here.
I'm just feeling into this energy. It's so empowering for you guys to feel into this. I want to share a little bit more of like my personal story of when I felt like I made that commitment to myself. And I talk about this often, but it was one moment. And I want you guys to feel into if there is a moment that's arising for you where you get up on the freaking altar and you make the vow. And before I share a bit about my personal moment of doing that, maybe it's time to like get yourself a promise ring that is devoted to your vision and have something on you that signifies your commitment to your path. For me, it was this tattoo alignment was such a moment for me to, this isn't the story that I was thinking about, but this is actually another moment, like another level of my commitment to my path was me getting this tattoo and putting this on my body was such a moment for me to say yes to the path of committing to alignment and like listening to the callings of my soul. And the other story I wanted to share was I just remember like sitting in my freaking cubicle back in New York City, feeling so lost, so confused with what I was doing in life. But yet I had this like a flame within me. And when you're in that space of being so in the opposite of what you know you came here to experience, it literally feels like delusion. Like it feels like, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but like it's a dream. And the more you start to really honor what's coming forward, the more inevitable it becomes. And the more you commit to it, the more inevitable it becomes. And I can just think back to this very specific feeling that I had where I was living in New York City, single, working a job that I hated, dealing with depression and panic attacks. And I literally had a vision of me helping people in a way that felt so good to me. At the time, I thought it was health coaching because that's what my mind could comprehend and understand. Like I saw myself as this health coach that like had an audience online where I was able to serve a bunch of people, and it was always there. I saw myself living on the beach in California before I had moved to California. I saw myself with my dog. I saw myself with my to-be husband. And it was a vision that in that moment, I started to commit to. And I want to just paint the picture, guys, that sometimes it isn't actually just a moment. There's almost like a slow build to the moment. There is a moment, but like there can be a slow build to the moment. And I know for me, I had to deal with a lot of doubt, like a lot of fear and just like blurriness that was making it feel like, yes, there was this deep inner knowing that this is inevitable. This is my life that I came here to live. But also, there was still the ego. There was still a lot of the anxiety, the panic, the doubt that was present with me. Like I had to hold space for all of that. And I just want you guys to know that if you are in a space of feeling the doubt and the vision is present, allow yourself to be a big enough being that can hold space for all of it. And the commitment doesn't need to come when the doubt is gone. It actually is part of the process of allowing the doubt to dissolve when you invite in the commitment while all of those things are present. And that's essentially what I did. I remember sitting at my desk, and I've talked about this in the off the record emails and just in stories in my Instagram captions. There was just a moment where I knew deep within me, like I am meant to sign up for this health coaching certification. And I had my credit card out on my desk, and it was like a few $1,000s of money that I had no business spending with the salary that I was making and the rent that I had to pay. It was ridiculous. I think I was making $36,000 a year. It was insane. My paychecks were like $700 every 2 weeks. And I remember sitting at my desk and like there was this $5,000 payment for this health coaching certification. And in that moment, that was me being like, are you going to commit to this? Is this a full send fuck yes moment of really setting up the commitment? Like sign here. You are now vowing that this is your life. And it was a moment that was signified by what happened to be a big investment. It doesn't always have to be a big investment. It can literally just be a moment of you deciding. I'm just explaining my example of when this really happened for me. It was through that specific transaction, and then moments of me like getting a tattoo and deciding to like move to a specific location or create a certain website. Like these were all activations of my commitment and the vow to my path. But there's this moment where you just feel it in your core that there is no going back. And someone can hear that and be like, oh, that's so scary. But it's actually not. To me, it's scarier to not be committed. Like it's scarier to just be floating around without the inner knowing that like this is the fucking thing that you are inevitably going to experience in your life. And that moment is so special. It's so unique to everyone. It's going to look different for everyone. And it's actually a really beautiful moment to reflect on because I'm just feeling into all of the energy that was present for me. And I'm getting this really beautiful visual of like my emotions as these little characters. And I can see doubt. I can see fear. I can see resistance. I can see anger. I can see frustration. I could see little panic attack in the corner, like being like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was present with all of these emotions without them needing to be anything other than what they were. And in that, like the bigness of who I was came alive, like the power came online, the inner knowing came online. And I feel like when we give ourselves grace to actually be with all of it, to release the grip that you're meant to feel like this limitless being all the fucking time is just, it's pretty insane, especially at the beginning of your journey when you're feeling a lot of doubt. And honor that, like honor the presence of those emotions, but also you fucking got this and you're ready to commit. And the vow is right in front of you. You just have to read it.
Commitment is the container that holds all of the emotions, all of the doubt, and enables you to stop making negative meaning about the presence of those.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
like commitment is the overarching energy, is the truth of your being that then eliminates the tendency to see the presence of doubt, to see the presence of intense emotions, going through grief, going through transitions of whatever it is that you're going through, because that is life, to see those as a problem. They're not a problem. In the container of commitment, in the container of a relationship that with two people that are committed to each other no matter what, all of that becomes richness,
Right.
becomes connection, becomes fun, becomes dynamicism and making it interesting, and actually adds to the inevitability of what you are going to experience. And this is where it all becomes then a part of your story, where committing and saying, I know that I am capable. I know that I'm going to experience this. I know that I am a being that can X, Y, and Z. That then opens you up to take the freaking roller coaster as it comes. And all of that turns into your hero's journey. And that's what enables you to fucking send it in the face of challenge and to still have a core root of believing in yourself, even when doubt is very present for a whole day or for a whole week. It is happening within the larger container of, I know that I can do this. I know that I got this. I have committed to myself. And that's it.
Right. Yeah. I'm having this kind of like a continuation of the visual that I was having through what you're sharing, where commitment is like how you said, the container. And just imagine all of your emotions kind of like Inside Out, the movie Inside Out, as these little characters. And you have doubt, you have fear, you have anxiety, you have panic, you have frustration, anger, all of the things. And when you commit, you're opening up this beautiful, I'm imagining like, I don't know, I like to go to like EDM shows. So I'm imagining like a warehouse, like a where raves are. Pick your own container of a location that feels good to you, but it's like has walls and a ceiling. And I'm imagining this like really fun, like upbeat warehouse where there's like really cool EDM music playing inside. And when you commit, it's like you building the walls to welcome in all of those emotions. And like, here comes doubt, here comes fear. Like, you're welcome into this space. We do not discriminate.
Yeah.
Come in, everyone's welcome. And when you allow yourself to be in the journey of like acting on the vision, and then you're in the warehouse dancing with the doubt, dancing with the fear, they actually aren't controlling the path anymore because they're like having fun. They're like swept up on their feet. You're doing the healing work. They're dissolving into power and awakening into something maybe a little bit more elevated. But the thing is, when you're not committing and you're not saying yes, by not having that container there, the fear and the doubt are kind of like, and all the other emotions are kind of running wild and like unhinged. Not in like the good unhinged kind of way. We fucking love a good unhinged energy, but not this type of vibe. Letting your emotions just be so out without being, how do I describe this? They actually end up controlling you when they're not welcomed because they are secretly running the show in the background where your life is actually becoming a manifestation of doubt being in the driver's seat. But if you welcome it into the party, he gets lost in the fun and he's like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. We love this. We love this beat. And it's just a completely different vibe. So I'm just getting a really beautiful visual of where the emotions come into this process of commitment. And to see it this way kind of lightens the load and allows us to exhale from thinking that you're meant to feel like yeah, like yes, there is that energy, but I can just think back to that moment where I took the vow and I committed to my path, and there was still like, oh shit, like am I like able to really do this? Like, is this gonna happen? And over time, I can now look back with 2020 vision and be like, yes, bitch, fucking slay. That was the moment you committed, even though it felt a little like scary. That was the moment.
It's an activation. This is why taking big leapy action and taking huge jumps, right? Whether it's quitting the job, investing in the thing, saying yes to the opportunity, saying no to the opportunity, right? Like all these different things that hold a big charge, they activate us and they create more reason essentially to have to commit, to have to look at yourself and have your own back. This is why we strip away the things that we know are, holding us back or holding us in illusion. And we come back to the one thing that we've always been able to rely on, which is our self, our highest self,
Mm.
our soul, just the me, myself, and I team that's in there. And that energy is what then keeps you grounded through all of it, right? And this is where you're directing the presence of fear, of anxiety, of anger, and you're bringing them into the party and you're saying, hey, let's try this, let's do this, let's transmute, let's have a dance all together. That's different than, like you're saying, when they're just running in the background or when we've so over identified with those and made meaning and truth out of those rather than the core vessel that is having all that stream through.
Right.
And yeah, I feel like I want to really encourage, if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I really, maybe you're realizing that you've been a little bit uncommitted to yourself. You've been a little non-committal with yourself and your life and your goals and your vision. And I want you to be inspired here to maybe literally take out a piece of paper, or better yet, go stand in the mirror in the bathroom and start to claim to yourself what either you know to be true or what you are working on seeing as true. Of, from this day forward, I am fully committed to myself, to honoring my emotions, to honoring my journey, to honoring my desires. From this day forward, I will experience the feeling of inner trust and I am ready. I am committing in this moment to my highest self and to my soul's mission. Today,
Mm.
I decide to draw a line in the sand. And as I step forward as the being that is a big enough vessel to hold it all. Today, I commit to myself to honoring the inner child in me that is ready to express and to be free. And I'm ready for it. And to write these things out and say them and feel them and practice imagining that this is the new big container that you're playing in. And it's important that we talked about still letting there be a presence of self-doubt and emotions and all. It's like, this is, again, we're creating actually more room for those to take their rightful place. And yeah, I'm just feeling into someone who's listening and is feeling that they're maybe on that threshold and they're ready to take a step or finally do the thing, take the leapy action, say no, say yes. And I want you to feel into the soul spark that's guiding that, because that is the flame that we're fanning by committing. And
Mm.
that is what's been guiding you this whole time. So just imagine if you fan that flame a little bit more, that becomes the main guiding light. And that's what we're saying here with, sometimes it is a slow progression, sometimes it is in one big leap. No matter what, this is about fanning the flame of core truth, which is that we are limitless souls that can absolutely do anything. We literally came from an existence before we turned into human beings where all we did was be conscious and turn things into matter at the snap of a finger. We didn't have fingers, but you know what I mean? And that's still who you are. And there's any reason that holds us back is based in illusion. And that soul spark, it knows, it remembers. That's why this journey is about bringing your soul out and fanning your soul flame, because your soul understands it. And now they're going to be in the driver's seat. And then you, as the human being, get to be in the passenger consciousness of enjoying the entire journey. So fan that freaking flame, because that's what's going to keep you going. And that is the part of you that actually really knows what's up.
Mm. Where do you feel like the leapy action comes into this path? I want to like talk maybe a little bit more about this, of what could potentially come up in those moments, because it is powerful to have the awareness around how the ego tries to protect us in those moments, right? Because usually what's happening is there's an identity around who your ego is projecting onto your soul as like, let me reword that. Your ego holds on to an identity, like an I am statement that is feeling limiting to the self that you are now. But that leapy action that you're going to take is going to dismantle that identity. It's going to eradicate and dissolve that identity. So let's say there's like a belief around not being enough to do the damn thing. And then you go and do the damn thing. The ego is kicking and screaming to stay alive. And it thinks it needs to stay alive with the identity of I'm not enough, I'm not capable. So the second you're going out of that realm and into the new realm of limitless possibility and true potential, the ego literally thinks it's going to die. But this is now your opportunity to make this journey super expansive where you're just teaching the ego the higher way. Give the ego something new to identify with. And this is why spirituality is so freaking powerful for this path of entrepreneurship, being of service, doing things that you would have deemed as impossible a few years back, maybe even a month back. Because when you are spiritually expanding, you're tapping into the true essence of who you are. And then you're taking it to another level through the healing by teaching the ego, the subconscious, the higher way. And you're giving it something new to like, I don't want to say grasp onto, but it kind of is that. Not in like, oh, you're just building up another like spiritual ego, but it kind of connects to that conversation we had
like
that ego isn't bad. It's something that can actually supplement your
you're playing
journey.
The game of right. You are using the useful side of identity, and that we are in a realm that we're meant to have identities in a weird way. Like they're all technically limiting, but there's ones that are more helpful than others. So yeah, it's like that's what the leap, the activation does. Is I always get a visual of just seeing like, you know, you get thrown into a pool, you got to move your arms and figure out how to swim. And you got to like, the voice is going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to drown. You have to like breathe and remember that you got this and start moving your arms. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm swimming. And that's what this is like literally trial by fire is called that for a reason. I don't know what the origin of that term is. It's probably war related, which isn't great, but trial by just jumping into the pool and having to figure it out. And yeah, it's beautiful to bring up. Like, this is what gives kind of more trust to that, the ego, like you're describing, it's supposed to be activated. It's supposed to get triggered because then you're teaching it and you're bringing the spiritual lessons or the soul lesson to have it evolve and take the energy that was once being poured into holding the ego, dissolve it and put it into a new, more helpful identity that now your ego is actually going to help you to maintain, but it's more helpful and less suffering causing than the one before. And I think something that was coming to mind in the original question that you were asking, which I can't remember, but it was something around like, you know, more around leaps and what this does for us. And I think this is when, if you are feeling like there's just kind of an air of stagnation in your life, or you've just been almost like putting up with the same thing for so long and the same patterns are repeating, sometimes this is where the call to like do something drastically different and to literally just move yourself through the time-space continuum in a different way so that you just literally bump up against different energetic inputs to properly trigger your ego, your identity, all the things that were tethering you, almost like seeing them as like literal energetic cords to a past experience that was starting to feel dull. It's feeling dull because it's dying out. And now you need to move yourself through the time-space continuum into a different energy. And that is, in this world, how we like define ourselves and individuate, is literally moving through space differently. And I heard about this concept on the Jenna Zoe Human Design podcast. The way she was explaining briefly about this like idea of one of the main markers of like our differentiation is literally just how we all move through the space-time continuum in different ways. And it just placed this very powerful visual in my mind of like, that's like the simplicity of just every day literally moving yourself through your space and through time and through your relationship to all of those things in a different way, or in a way that is in accordance with your freaking soul, which is going to communicate to you through your desires, your intuition, your authority, the things that you're getting.
Mm.
And that is what is alignment. That's the commitment you're making, is to doing those things that break down, that we have dozens and dozens of episodes on, is how to actually listen to the intuition, how to handle this, how to alchemize your emotions, how to transmute doubt into whatever. Like, that is the day-to-day thing that lands you into, now you are literally a different being. You're a truer being because of how you're moving through the space-time continuum.
Wow, that's such a cool visual. It's literally like you tapping into that energy within that is your soul, and then you get to communicate that energy to the field. And I'm imagining like someone moving through this like quantum reality where the reality is
Mhm.
rendering differently around them because of that energy they're connected to. And sometimes it's actually just you acting and like moving matter in a different way that allows that energy to be communicated to the field. Sometimes it's tapping into the energy and then taking the action. Sometimes it's literally just using your fucking superpowers and tapping into the energy. Like, whatever it is you want to
Right.
do, we're limitless beings. We get to play in all of these realms of possibility. And it is interesting to think about the ego here, because you will feel discomfort and suffering when you're living in a reality where you have connected in with a deeper truth within your soul, but then the 3D ego self is like still acting in an old way. And the commitment is when you're saying, I'm committing to letting go of this past self. I'm committed to
Right.
essentially letting the ego die. And it's like a death ceremony as much as it is a celebration for the new chapter, because you are literally
Yeah.
letting go of an old identity by stepping into that commitment. You're letting go of an
Yeah.
identity that maybe suited you up until now, but now it's like you're free, bitch. Go run, go play.
Yes. This is why the traditional wedding vows are all about, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. It's literally saying, no matter the circumstance, I will not let those define who we are. And
Right.
you're doing the same thing in your own life. That's commitment. It's
Right.
perfect the way you just said that. Like, commitment is saying yes with an open heart and an open vessel to all of it, and loving yourself and your journey and all of it through the vastness and the richness of that experience.
Yeah. And to also think that I've just been feeling into this truth pretty deeply lately, how it's in the release. It's in the release. We had one of our VIP one-on-ones say this on her call the other day, how I forgot the way she worded it, but she was mentioning exactly what I've been feeling into too, of how powerful the release is, like the letting go of control.
Mhm.
And that is so fucking profound in this journey of commitment, because you'll realize like half of the process of that commitment is actually letting go to something you've been gripping onto so tightly. And
Yeah.
I feel like when you think about commitment from like the ego perspective, it's like, oh, what do I need to change? Who do I need to be? When the soul knows who you are has been present the entire time. It literally doesn't change. It's just our perception of it. So when you think about it that way, it's actually in the release. It's in the letting go.
Mm.
And for me, being on like such a deep subconscious healing journey, I can just look back at every chapter of my life and look at the exact identity I was letting go of. And it was never like a commitment to like clench my fists and become this like powerful being. It was like, wow, I actually was just slowly softening into who I always was. And that's why it felt so fucking present from day one. No matter how much doubt was there,
Mm.
it was literally a flame that was within me since I was born. And yeah, maybe it got a little bit
Wow.
dulled as I grew up and started to learn from society, like what we're meant to do with career and all these kind of conditions that limit us. But then I just started to like feel it even deeper through pain and suffering,
Mm.
honestly. Like it was in those moments of my depressive states and panic attacks where I felt no choice but to connect in with who I was, because it just felt so painful at that moment to think that I
Mm.
was the panic attack. I was the anxiety. I was the depression. Like I wasn't. I was just the one experiencing it. And it was in that moment where I had no choice but to be the observer. And that's why like struggle will always be such a powerful catalyst for awakening, because like you're really face to face with who it is you're not to become fully aware of who it is you truly are.
Amen.
And now go commit.
Now go do the freaking thing. Write out your vows to yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Seriously. Like sometimes there is seasons where we gotta speak to ourselves and say the things out loud of the new reality and be very intentional with your words and your thoughts and cultivating that field. And then it becomes the default mode, right? And then we come up to a challenge and we keep iterating and going.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to add in here?
No, I feel like this is perfect because this is one that you guys are going to come back to whenever you feel like, oh, I'm at the next level of my commitment. I'm going to listen to this one for sure. I love listening to our episodes, and this is going to be one where I'll tune into this when I feel like I'm at that next level. And have fun with life, guys, because the levels never stop unfolding. So just learn to enjoy the unfolding and rendering of the next level while being so fucking present with where your feet are right in this moment, because this is literally why your soul came here. You would not be listening to this podcast if you were not a being that came here to experience pure freaking magic in this lifetime. And to do that, you just have to realize and remember who it is you truly are is literally magic. And then you experience that.
Mic drop. Beautiful. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. Send us a message. Put a comment wherever you're listening. And join our Oasis, guys. We have a monthly community membership that is literally the shit. It is an incredible space for you to commit literally to these fruits and to show up as that being, to experience workshops and community connection that will make this all honestly a heck of a lot easier to embody and to enact into your life and to be. So check that out. Link is in our description. And this is the place to be if you want more Om, you want more Nikki and Bella, you want our magic, you want to connect with all the other incredible Omis all over the world. It's in our Oasis, omis.com/oasis, or check the link in our description of all the episodes. We would love to have you in there. And we have 2 workshops every single month, minimum, a new moon workshop and a coherence activation. Coherence activation is all about heart brain coherence and then channeling wisdom for you to receive. And the new moon circles tend to be very interactive, activity based. And you get all of access to all the past ones, all the workshop replays, a huge on-demand library. It's actually bonkers. The space is bonkers. So jump in there. We'd love to see you in there. Thank you for listening.
And it's only $14.
I just wanted to say namaste. It's only $14.99 a month. Namaste. Join the Oasis.
Love it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next week, bitches. Peace and love.
Bye.